So in this lecture, we will summarize everything we learned in this section. This section was all about how to summarize text. We learned about two different approaches to this problem, specifically extractive and abstractive. To review, extractive is when the summary is made up of pieces of the given document. On the other hand, abstractive is when the summary is made up of novel text, more like a paraphrasing of the input. Clearly, extractive summarization is easier because it only amounts to choosing which sentences are the most relevant. On the other hand, abstractive summarization is hard because it requires us to generate text, which even by itself is pretty difficult. Abstractive methods are more suited to deep learning models such as seek-to-seek and transformers. This section looked at two methods of summarizing text, where the second built upon the first. The first method was pretty simple. It only involved using the techniques we learned from the first part of this course, which was on vector-based methods, in particular TF-IDF. The basic idea was we would compute a TF-IDF matrix from a document split into sentences. We could then score each sentence using the average of the non-zero TF-IDF values. From there, we simply sort each sentence by their corresponding score and return the top scoring sentences. The second method we looked at was called text rank, and it gave us a better way of scoring each sentence. Most of the steps remain the same, which was convenient. The text rank method is based on Google's PageRank, which treats every web page as a state in a Markov chain. The PageRank score is then just the probability you would land on a specific web page after doing a random walk for an infinite number of steps. If you looked at the advanced lectures, you know the conditions under which such a score exists, and a simple way for us to ensure that those conditions are true. Importantly, you also learned an efficient way to compute these scores. For those who prefer a more beginner approach, we also looked at a few libraries that give you back a summary in just a few lines of code. Those libraries included TextRank, among other methods. Finally, recognize that both of the methods we learned about compute the summary based only on the document we wanted to summarize. In other words, unlike other machine learning methods, it doesn't require us to train on a whole text corpus, learn a language model, and so forth. If we wanted to build an abstractive summarizer, that would be required, since we need a language model in order to know how to generate text. Using this method, we only need the document itself, which is simpler and more efficient. So hopefully you found this section useful, both for learning more about NLP and for reducing your own reading time if you're like me and you have a lot to read. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next lecture.